We're inching closer to the college football season. We're inching closer to Georgia's season, and that means we're able to bet on what's going on. You're able to bet at least some of the betting lines for the Georgia games they've dropped already. You can go and check that out. FanDuel's got some, DraftKings got some. There's different sites that got them. But if this is your game, it's not my game, but if you want to go ahead and place an early bet and say, I'm confident that this is going to happen in this Georgia game right now, you can do that here in the middle of June. It looks like 5 games have lines out there. We could talk about that. We could talk about other betting odds for Georgia in terms of just being in the top 5, right? And national championship, being in the top 2 or 3 in the SEC championship. But let's focus in on these games. We know the time for 5 games, and now we know the betting lines, at least the opening ones for 5 of them that Georgia will play in. Which games are they favorites in? As my phone starts to freak out on me, I will get that fixed. Looks like I was accidentally FaceTiming somebody. Georgia, 38.5-point favorites over Marshall. That is ridiculous. Why do I say it's ridiculous? They've been bigger favorites over other teams, other small programs. Here's what I'm going to say. Georgia almost never covers these lines. Right? When it's like a 50-point line against Tennessee Tech or whoever it was they played last year, what happened? They beat them 48-3. It just barely doesn't happen in a lot of these games. Do you think Georgia will beat Marshall by essentially 40 points is what you're betting? 38.5 points. It's a lot. Now, for fun and just for content for all of you, we do picks, right, on the website dogpost.com, which I am imploring you to go check out. Ryan Curley from Dogpost here. Haven't introduced myself yet. But on dogpost.com, we do weekly picks. We do final feelings. I got my 5 for Friday. And look, we talk about the betting lines and stuff like that, and we do picks, and we pick every single Georgia game. And we're not putting money on it, but we're just telling you what our picks are so we can have standings towards the end of the year. And we all tell you, look, Georgia just doesn't cover these huge lines most of the time. And they're going to be really big favorites like this against Marshall, Austin Peay, and against Charlotte. But I can confirm that I'm looking at right now, 38.5-point favorites against the Thundering Herd, who it's going to be tough for them. They'll probably get a touchdown or maybe 2. It'll be tough for them to score. But it will be a matter of, does Georgia's offense look super explosive in that first game of the year? Think about it that way. Do you think that Gunnar Stockton's going to come out there gunning it, launching it downfield to guys? Georgia does that a good bit in these games. Do they run the ball and just try to get out of there? Do they try to make a statement? Think about the way that Georgia blew out. I can't remember which school it was at the beginning of the 2021 season when Stetson Bennett had his first start of the year. Is it that type of game? Was that UAB? It's not good that I can't remember that. Let's look at the next betting line that we can find. That was the earliest one of the season. The next one that I can find is at Tennessee. Georgia in week 3 in September is going to have to go up and play the Tennessee Volunteers in Knoxville in Neyland Stadium. This is one of the toughest environments of college football. For Gunnar Stockton, Georgia's quarterback, it'll be his first true road start, right? Barring anything else happening that would prevent that. It'll be Gunnar Stockton's first true road start. This will be a difficult task. Now, my personal opinion on the Tennessee Volunteers is I think they take a step back from last year. And I think Georgia kind of sticks around the same level, and if not anything, gets a little bit better. Tennessee has not combated its issues in the offseason the way that Georgia has. And Tennessee has gone through some quarterback drama now with Nico Iamaleava. You expect the App State, then UCLA, now Tennessee quarterback Joey Aguilar to be the starter in what ended up pretty much being a flip-flop between Joey Aguilar and Nico Iamaleava. But Georgia's a 5.5-point favorite over the Vols in Knoxville, which that's one I'd tell you to take. That's what I tell you to take if I'm giving you my advice. I think I'm taking that all day long, looking this far ahead. 5.5 points over the Vols up there. Look, Georgia's owned Tennessee in Knoxville recently. I think it's been since 2015 when Nick Chubb got hurt up there that Georgia lost to them in that stadium. And they obviously lost in 16 in Sanford Stadium, but going on the road and beating the Vols has not been an issue for Georgia. The last 2 times, which are games that I've been to, Georgia waxed them. And they especially waxed them in 2023. I think Georgia goes up there, handles business. This is less than a touchdown. I think that those are good odds. Georgia was a double-digit favorite last year at home, and they beat them by 2 touchdowns. That's a line that I would that's a line that I would consider. Next one, against the Alabama Crimson Tide, Georgia has been seen as about a 3-point, 4-point favorite. I've seen them anywhere between 2 and 4. I do think Alabama is going to be a good football team. It'll likely be Ty Simpson as that starting quarterback. They will have the second best wide receiver in college football in Ryan Williams. They will have plenty of talent on its football team. It's still going to be a very good football team. The biggest difference is Georgia is going to be at home, and that's been huge. And Georgia hasn't played Alabama at home since that 2015 season, pouring down rain, and Alabama comes to Sanford Stadium and really lays the smackdown behind Derrick Henry and Nick Saban and what was a very good Alabama football team that won the national championship that season, correct? At least went to the national championship. So being a 4-point favorite this time, it being at home, it's almost certainly going to be a night game. That's one that I would consider taking as well if I was a betting person, which I don't do that. I also feel like that'd be a little unethical, but maybe I should since I get a lot of the inside information. But it's not. I wouldn't do as well as you'd think. Auburn, Georgia has 2 very tough road tests this year in terms of environment and just rivalry, quality of team. It's Auburn and it's Tennessee. Well, 5.5 points favorite at Tennessee roughly. They're listed as a roughly 7.5 point favorite over the Auburn Tigers. Now, things get dicey down at Jordan-Hare Stadium. It is one of those places where you feel like anything can happen. And it's going to be tough. Auburn's expected to be a better football team this season than it was a year ago. It'll have Jackson Arnold, former 5-star and former Oklahoma quarterback, as its new gunslinger. They've got talent. They've got another year of Hugh Freeze, and Auburn expects to be better this coming season. Will it be good enough to put up a fight against Georgia would be my question. I don't know. I mean, I look at Georgia's schedule. I project the Dogs to be about 11-1, potentially 12-0. I just legitimately think that that's on the table for Georgia this coming season if they are as good as their talent level says they are, which is one of the best teams in college football. Georgia did not handle a 21-point line at home against Auburn a year ago. It didn't handle the line 2 years ago when it went and had a close game with the Tigers. This is one I'd be weary of. Things can happen down in Auburn, Alabama. Listed as about a 9.5 point, 10-point favorite against Ole Miss at home this year. Georgia went to Oxford last season. The rain poured. Georgia snored. And the crowd roared on its way to storming the field. A little bit of rhyming action for you there. It was one of... I did a video this week about how the 2024 season was unforgettable and it'll have all these memories. And I didn't even mention the Ole Miss game and the fact that the field was stormed, the goalpost was taken down, people are yelling at C.J. Allen, Dalen Everett, yelling at all these defensive players for Georgia, acting like they're going to fight them. Georgia's going to want revenge over Ole Miss. We'll see how it goes, but about a 10-point favorite. There is a good bit of hype around Ole Miss's quarterback, Austin Simmons, but they've got to replace some serious defensive talent that went to the NFL. They've got to replace its best receiver. They've got to replace its quarterback. Ole Miss is not a program, as Georgia is, where it's completely equipped to reload like that. I don't know. Another line that I've seen, about a 2.5 point favorite for Georgia against Texas at home. That's probably going to change if Texas beats Ohio State. That could end up being kind of a flip 'em type of game. If Texas goes on the road, beats Ohio State, and is undefeated heading into Athens, they're going to want revenge. Georgia beat them twice last year. That'd be a game I'm interested to see. Obviously, I'm going to see it, but 2.5 point, 2 point favorite, I don't expect it to change that much from that. Georgia about a 12.5 point favorite in a neutral site game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Black Friday. I think that's going to be at 3:30 p.m. Love it. Love it, love it, love it for my life. Friday 3:30 game, I get to watch all of Saturday uninterrupted. I don't have to go to bed at 3 in the morning after an 8 overtime game. Love it. But 12.5 point favorite for the Dogs against Georgia Tech. So, look, at this rate, Georgia's going to be favored in every single game it plays this year because it's playing the heavy hitters at home, and it should be better than the teams it plays on the road. It's a matter of, are these bets good? I wouldn't bet them in the big lines, but those medium lines against teams that it should be, I think that those are your better bets. And just enjoy the big games like against Texas and Alabama. Don't stress out about betting on that. Little bit of betting odds on these games, some game spreads. Let me know what you think about them down below. Appreciate you watching.